So, I'm not gonna hold y'all long on this live. I just got a few updates. Okay, so I was not going to do a live until I got to New York, but um I've been getting played with a little bit in my comment section, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a live. I'm about to take this hair out because it's so in getting on my nerves. So this is kind of like just an impromptu video. Um, just want to briefly tap in and share a couple of things. So I did get the spirit of intimacy. We will be going over the 13th chapter of this soon. Can't wait to talk about this. I'm working on a gatekeeper topic. I want to really delve into it. I've been getting a lot of amazing revelations and downloads about the whole gatekeeping um, ideology, the whole, what gatekeeping meant and what gatekeeping is now. I really, really, really want to expand upon that and delve into that. Now, before I get into this video, I want to say this. On this platform, I do vents, I ramble on about, things that impact me, how they affect me. I speak from my emotional intelligence. Um, I do research, but everything that I say is not based on some stuff that I looked up or some stuff that I read. It's, experience. It's like being in the situation and how you experience the situation when you have experienced it. So I often, more than any time, will speak from lived experience. And I understand that my lived experience does not speak for everyone. I want to be clear when I say that my lived experience does not speak for everyone's lived experience. So I am specifically speaking to people who can relate to my lived experience. It's not a research because what I found in this nation is that a lot of times people are not going to tell you the truth. Research is capable of lying. Numbers can be cooked, data can be manipulated. This is why having discernment, um, having the courage to experience and live life so that you can be able to give your own testimony, because research is based on testimony. Let's be clear. Everything that you research, it had to come from someone's testimony. Someone had to experience it. Someone had to be the guinea pig. Someone had to be the lab rat in order for the research to be accurate. So every people always say, "Oh, you research facts. You need to do research facts." What is research? Research is comprised of people's lived experience. It's comprised of beings, subjects, participants who have participated in this to bring you this data, this information. Now, when you get into advocacy work, when you get into community work, when you work with nonprofits, you understand that a lot of the work is data driven. When you've been a part of when you've been a part of the prison system, when you're in the industry, you realize that a lot of things are data driven. Where does that data come from? How do they harvest that data? They harvest it from people who are having said experiences. Period. So when you come on this platform, y'all could keep your me search over there because a lot of y'all, you swear to God, because you have reputable sources, that it ain't me search. But a lot of it's me search. Like a lot of people be saying negative stuff about Dane Calloway, but I don't see y'all debunking any of the stuff that he's saying. Like I'm on some, like, send me the information, like send me the links. It's not people that's really out here debunking what this man's saying. It's not people that's out here really exposing him like that. You don't see people constantly doing expose videos on Dane Calloway. Like people who are talking about black indigenous people, you don't really see all these exposes. Where they coming from? Because he hitting you with facts on top of facts on top of facts on top of facts. Is some of it ego? Yeah. Who in this nation is not egotistical? Who in this nation is not having bouts with narcissism, self-entitlement? How can you live in America and not struggle with that? Because this is a very superficial society that we live in. You know what I'm saying? When I got ready to do this video just now, I was like, should I put some makeup on? Should I do something to my hair? Should I wear something? Should I set up a set? Like, we are a society that is driven by aesthetic over message. Like, we don't really give a fuck what you talking about, long as you look cute while you doing it. Right? You could be saying a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, but if it looks aesthetically good, I'm here for it. We could work around that. Put a nice beat with it, some auto tune. We can fix that. That's an easy fix. Anyway, it is not really about the message. It's about how the messenger looks. And so anyway, getting back to black people, the black vote, slavery. This is how I feel, and this is gonna come from a short that I did earlier today. New Orleans is the oldest city in the country, if not is one of the oldest cities in the country, if not the oldest city in the country. And though that's not where my ancestors were first, because we were from Mississippi, from what I know, and we migrated. But I had great aunts and great grandmothers who didn't just live in Mississippi and live in Bogalusa, but they also lived, I can't think of it right now, but when we went to go and bury my great auntie, who was Indian, I forgot what part of the country she lived in, but we had to drive a while to get there. But I know a lot of my family members came from Mississippi, and some of them made the Trail of Tears and went to Oklahoma. So I was born in New Orleans, but I was not raised in New Orleans, okay? So but if you've ever lived in New Orleans, you know that New Orleans is different from most states in the country, because most cities in the country, excuse me, because New Orleans is a place where you would get arrested for misdemeanors and have to squat and cough in the early 2000s and the late 90s. Like literally, you could get arrested for a misdemeanor and have to strip naked, squat and cough, open your ass, raise up your, your junk if you had it. I mean, for a misdemeanor, for being drunk in public, for disturbing the peace, for loitering, you literally had to strip naked, squat and cough. Then when you got ready to go to court, they put chains on your hands and chains on your feet, and you were on the chain gang. You had to walk in a line with chains on, okay, for a misdemeanor. See, this is why New Orleans is like no other place. This is why New Orleans people can be a little bit more savage, because of the the things that were norms for us. Like this was a norm. Like I can't tell you how many times I had to squat and cough in my 20s. I can't tell you how many chain gangs I walked on in my 20s. I can't tell you how many times I was degraded and treated like a slave when I went to jail in my 20s. And so, and that's one part of just being in New Orleans. That's one part of uh being demeaned and dehumanized. And when I speak the way that I speak about slavery in America, when I speak the way that I speak about black people, when I say what I say, you have to understand that I'm coming from a past where it still felt like slavery. This was the turn of the millennium. This was the 90s, and we still had to squat and cough over misdemeanors. We still had to walk on a chain gang over misdemeanors. We were still being beaten by the deputies and the wardens for back talking them inside the prison. I remember one time they were slanging feces on us because we wouldn't give them head in jail. And the wardens, the deputies wanted to make us clean the shit up. So we had to check off like we was about to kill ourselves to keep from having to clean the rooms. This was the turn of the millennium. And it was still stuff like this going on. And what you have to understand is, even during slavery times, even though I don't think that slavery existed in the way that it's told to us, make sure y'all click that like button, because as I told y'all, the algorithm, been me and the algorithm been beefing. So make sure y'all click that like button and support this live, because I'm sharing vulnerable and honest stuff with y'all. So anyway, I don't think that everybody was treated the same way during slavery. We already know that some black people own slaves. We already know that there were a lot of slave owners who were sleeping with the children, and their children were being treated differently than the rest of the slaves. We already know that there was a house nigga and a field nigga, and the house nigga wasn't always light skinned. The house nigga was sometimes dark skinned. It was just a trustworthy nigga, or it was a nigga that, massa, the white man, or whatever, whoever was the master of the house. If it was a Moor, who knows? But we know that all the house niggas wasn't light skinned. So there were black people who owned slaves. There were house niggas who were favored no matter what complexion that they were. And there were children who were descendants of the slave master. So this is three groups of individuals that existed during a time where there was allegedly far less black people in the nation, and even today is only 15% of the population allegedly. So if the numbers were way smaller than what they are now, and you still had these three groups, you had the descendants of the slave masters, you had the black folks who owned slaves, and you had the house niggas who were not descendants of the slave master, but was just favored by the slave master because they were considered trustworthy. So you have three groups of Negroes that are receiving special favors and are not experiencing slavery in the same way that others are experiencing slavery. Just like in this country to this day, you have black people who have never seen the inside of a jail cell. And you have black people who, every time you look around, they go into jail. You have black people who are always having financial problems, always having financial strains, always having a crisis because they have not been able to conform to the ways of the land, to the ways of this nation. And so they struggle. They have not been vetted to have that wealth. They are not willing to play the game how the game has been set before them. And so they are running into countless struggles. But then you have black people who receive the program and take it and excel abundantly. This can be compared to the times. Then you have black people who excel by their heritage, by their connection. Then you have black people who always had it. The slave owners who come from that coin. This has always existed in this nation. And so when we try to make black struggle this uniform thing that all black people are conscious of, is that realistic? Y'all always talking about facts, but is it realistic? There's always been a talented 10. And of the talented 10, wouldn't they offspring be looked out for? So I just never had the luxury of, and I'm not going to say I never had the luxury, because if you would have caught me about 10 years ago, I would have believed that, all black people was, we all the same tribe, we all going through it, we all suffering, we all struggling, just not really paying attention to the intricacies and the nuances. Some people out here talking about black struggle and ain't struggling. And they make it look like they advocating for you, but really they just want to represent you so that they could gatekeep the resources that could potentially come to your people. Everybody that's representing you ain't representing you because they love you, because they care for you. No, nigga, they short stopping your bag. They not really advocating for you. They're pretending to advocate for you, but really they short stopping your bag. I'm giving you the real. Everybody out there who in front of the camera talking about Black Lives Matter and black this and black that and blackity black and black y'all, they don't care about your life. They're not invested in you. Not all of them. Some there are some though. And a lot of times those are the ones that the machine chooses to use. They pretend like they're invested in your well-being. Let me tell you something. If somebody is truly invested in the upliftment of black people collectively, you can know telltale signs. When they start excluding certain groups, like Massam do, when they start saying you're not worthy because of such and such and such, you can't sit with us because of such and such and such. And when you notice how they're moving and they don't really want to be bothered with you, they don't really want to share space with you. Now, it's one thing to say, okay, I know my limitations. I can't, me and you move in two totally different ways. I can't be in your face all the time like that. Like, I don't hate you, but you going this way and I'm going that way. So look. But if you genuinely just look down your nose at a person, you genuinely just think you better than a person, that's a whole different thing than saying, okay, I see how you moving. I love you. I wish you well. I want you to be happy. I want you to be okay. I want you to be safe, but I just can't, for my sanity and for my well-being, I can't rock with you like I want to rock with you. I gotta love you from a distance. It's a difference in saying that to somebody than saying, oh, you coming off all self-righteous like you better than them, like you more than them. And there's a lot of black people that give that tease. There's a lot of people with melanin that give off the tease of superiority. I'm better than you, I'm more than you. And this is why I think this game is more intricate than what we believe it to be. I low key think that a lot of times Caucasians are just the mascots. And behind the scenes, it's some niggas pulling the strings. It's some niggas who know the whole truth, who know the whole story, and they know how everything started, all that's been passed down, and they behind the scenes pulling the strings. I think when we look behind the curtain and we see the Wiz, it's not gonna be no white man. It's not gonna be, it might not even much be a man. When we look behind the curtain and find out who the real puppet master is, I don't think the puppet master is no white man. I think white people is mascots. And I saw today Dan Calloway was talking about when you break down the word European, European. So they were peons, and that's what he said that the first Caucasians who came to this land, they were indentured servants and they were paid, they were paid slaves and they were peons. And they believe in this system obviously because their faces on the money, their faces on the altars, their faces on the religion, like this is the greatest marketing strategy to get white people invested. Like, what better way to get somebody invested into something is to put their face on everything. Is to put a face that they can relate to or a face that they resonate with on everything. And so, white people, a lot of times, Caucasian people are being more manipulated than we are. Like Caucasian people really got it rough because like literally their faces on everything. like So they come into this world feeling that pressure of, I gotta be somebody, I gotta accomplish something. This is, this is for us, and we're on the money, and we're on this, and we're on that. And, so white people, they like Chicken Little, like the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Like they just always in this urgency, and we gotta survive, and we gotta be okay, because all this pressure is put on them because they've been made the mascot of the team. They are literally the mascot of the team. They're the face of the team. The mascot is not the one who running shit, who calling the plays, though. The mascot is literally just the face of shit. So I think that's part of the distraction for for black people who refuse to evolve in consciousness, who are stuck in their ways, and who want to hold on to the illusions and the lies and the spells that have been cast on us. It's like, okay, if you want to get stuck in this riddle, if you want to get stuck in this matrix, and you want to constantly feed into this idea that white people are supreme, and white people run everything, and everything is for white people. Out of all the Caucasians that I've ever met, to me, Caucasian people a lot of times don't come off as entitled as much as they come off as, this is the way things are go. This is the way we have to do things. This is how we were taught. This is what we know. Like they have been so conditioned and so brainwashed. It's like it's a button that's on there, and it's no way possible you could turn that shit off. It's so much indoctrination. And me, as a black person, as a black indigenous person, I didn't know about slavery and racism until I was maybe like 8 years old, 8 or 9 years old. Like that was the first time that the concept really came up for me. And it was taught to me, obviously. But the schools that I went to, I went to Andrew Jackson. They had a white man face on it. You know, like I saw the design for white supremacy, but I didn't really realize, what racism was, or what colorism was, or what any of these things was, until I got, about 8 or 9 years old. And and before then, I believed in the Star Spangled Banner. I used to love to sing it. I used to love to sing patriotic songs. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to from the gustering waters to the green valleys. This land was made for you and me. And then I started saying this land was stole from the Cherokee. But and I used to love the Star Spangled Banner. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the Republic from which it stands, one nation under. I mean, I was here for it. I could recite the the preamble to the Constitution. Like, I was here for it. I was here for it. And then I started learning about slavery. And it just seemed like, I don't know, like, I guess when you learn about slavery, that's when we supposed to wake up. But I don't think we wake up. I think we're being put into a deeper sleep. Like, I don't think us learning about slavery um and learning about how our ancestors were treated is with the intentions to wake us up. I think it's the intentions and to put us into a deeper sleep that makes us believe that Caucasian people are superior to us. So they package it to us in a way of, they're telling us the truth. But are you telling me the truth, or are you just telling me something in order to subconsciously plant these seeds and ideas in my mind that these people are superior to us. Because even though when we were taught about slavery in school, we was taught about it in a way that we were supposed to surmise or use discernment to figure out that this was wrong and this was something bad that happened to us. But at the same time, a lot of us subconsciously started to believe that white people were better than us. We started to believe that we needed to behave more in a European way. We needed to present in a more European way. We needed to, be more palatable for those kinds of people. And so in teaching us about slavery, there were seeds planted that birthed insecurities that weren't there initially. And so, and I think it's because when we tell stories of our ancestral heritage, we only tell the stories of the good niggas, the niggas who assimilated, the niggas who were able to prosper within this system, the trustworthy nigga, the acceptable Negro. Those are the stories that we are allowed to hear in our Black History Month. Those are the stories that we celebrate. Those are the stories that we tell. We do not tell the stories of indigenous people, of Black indigenous people who were here before slavery. We do not tell their stories. We do not tell the stories of people who refuse to participate in colonization, who refuse to participate in a colonialized binary patriarchal society. We do not tell those stories. And so, in not telling those stories, it makes me think even more deeply that there was some handshaking going on. Some handshaking going on with the Black indigenous people of this land. Some handshaking going on with the lighter skinned indigenous people of this land. Some handshaking going on with the Africans, the Moors. Some handshaking going on. Because let's be clear. The business of America was created by immigrants. The Constitution was written by immigrants. All of the first laws of this nation, were written by immigrants. Immigrants, foreigners, aliens came up with the laws, the Constitution, and they were the first to govern this particular government. Not to say that there wasn't a government that existed before the United States of America was forged, but this particular government here was founded by immigrants. And there had to be some handshaking from the other immigrants who were coming over, because another thing that Dan Calloway said that really sits with me is that you could say a thing is a thing all you want to, but until everybody agree upon it, is it really a thing? Like, say for example, me calling myself Black. We can obviously look at me and see that I am not Black. My hair is Black. I'm not Black. But it's been agreed upon by enough individuals for this to be a fact. At some point, we have to have the courage enough to speak our differences and agree to disagree. Now, I want to close this out by talking about the black vote. We live in a nation where democracy is an illusion. The electoral college vote is comprised of people who don't even have to live here in order to cast the vote. You could have dual citizenship, live in another country, and just come here to vote when it's time to vote. Like the electoral college vote, you literally don't even have to live in the country to be able to cast an electoral college vote. And at the end of the day, that's who decides who the president of the United States will be, not the popular vote that is given to the citizens. And we saw a well-rounded example of this when Hillary received the popular vote, which was the vote of the people, and Donald Trump won the electoral college vote and claimed office. And the people who hold the electoral college vote do not have the interest of lay people in mind. They see this nation as an industry. They are invested in the corporation that is America, the industry that is America. And so when they select a president, they're not selecting a president that's going to cater to the whims of the people. They're going to select a president who knows how to manipulate the people, but knows how to carry out the demands of industry and a corporate society. Those who have the electoral college vote are more concerned about the business of America, the industry that is America, the corporation that is America. And so when we have all of our black brothers and sisters and our black siblings out here every year telling us about how important it is to vote, when the electoral college vote is still gonna be the end all be all, and ain't none of us holding that, then y'all often want to have us out here voting to elect people who wouldn't piss on us if we was on fire, who wouldn't sit down to eat a decent meal with us, who wouldn't be in the same room with us unless it was an opportunity for some type of media press. But these are the type of people that y'all shame us into electing, thinking that change gonna come. But we need to be more specific about what type of changes we would like to come. And some of y'all, instead of advocating for the vote, maybe you should run for office, because even if you don't win, if more of us that were so interested in the voting process would step up and participate in the voting process, at the very least, we could divide up the vote so much that we could legitimately create another party that would be able to someday win over the Democrats and the Republicans. Because you know we scraping the bottom of the pudding cup when we got a president who could literally say you ain't black if you don't vote for me. And he white as snow. We literally scraping the bottom of the pudding cup at this point. So maybe if more of us try to run for office, instead of condemning those of us who do not vote, or demanding so much of people who we don't know what these people are going through. We don't know how these people's hands haven't been tied. We don't know what these people are enduring behind the scenes to be elected. You know, I look at LaToya Cantrell, for example. They in New Orleans right now dragging this woman. They tearing this woman a new asshole. Every time you look around, the children is dragging LaToya Cantrell. And at first, I used to just defend her because she was one of the first politicians who I ever had an actual real relationship with and got a chance to, see how she was when she wasn't in front of the cameras. And she's definitely a personality. And It reminds me of the Kathleen Blanco story. So Kathleen Blanco was the first female governor of New Orleans. She was Caucasian, and she was the governor during the time when the levees broke and Hurricane Katrina hit. Now Kathleen Blanco passed away I think a couple of years ago. And I don't know. I She didn't even finish her term. Like, I can't imagine you being the first female governor of Louisiana. And the pressure that she must have been under, and for the levees to break on this woman. She couldn't even finish her term. They drug her, they humiliated her. And let's be clear, she was not prepared for that. And I don't think the levees would have broke had it not been a woman in office. I think that was the perfect time for all of this to happen, because they killed two birds at one stone, because another woman has not won that office since. Another woman. And now when we look at, LaToya Cantrell, we don't know how her hands were tied behind the scenes. We don't know what the stipulations were placed upon her in order for her to get the support needed to gain that office. We don't know what this lady is juggling behind the scenes. We don't know what this lady is up against. It's hard enough navigating a binary patriarchal society as a civilian. Can you imagine holding a head office in a government in the South that has traditionally been dominated by men for hundreds of years, white men in particular, and you coming into this office and you trying not to upset, people in corporate positions, you trying not to upset people in power, but you're also trying to make sure that you could do a little bit for your loved ones. You're trying to make sure you can make a little bit happen, but on a lot of shit, your hands probably legit tied. So I don't have too much judgment for politicians, because I realize that they be holding to the corporations. Even the president got the highest seat in the nation. He still got to be beholden to the corporations first. It's corporations, it's organizations, it's businesses that gets politicians elected, not individuals. It's a collective effort from people in power. And so when I think about what's going on with LaToya, I think that even though her administration, like a lot of people are saying, she's gonna go down in history as the worst mayor New Orleans ever had, being the first ain't easy, because we live in a society that's always looking for the updated version, the newest model. What's next? You know what I'm saying? Being first isn't necessarily the best. We always trying, look how many iPhones they got. People always trying to update something, wanting a new model. The first one was old, it's boring. Look at the old TV. We ain't got no old TV no more. The first cell phones. You know what I'm saying? So being the first, it's gonna be a lot of complaints about it. Oh, it's nice. They appreciate you till that next best thing come. You know what I'm saying? Until that new thing come. You know what I'm saying? So, being the first black woman to be the mayor of New Orleans, I think what I will always say positively about her, and what I will always celebrate, is that her example gives hope to youth who are watching her, and perhaps we'll be able to go further and do a little bit more because of her example. So let's try not to be so hard on the first. Like, have some grace. We've had grace for our Caucasian mascots for hundreds of years. We've had grace for uh, our raccoon gatekeepers for hundreds of years. Let's have grace for some of these, these women who are stepping into these positions in a patriarchal, binary system. Let's have a little grace. But yeah, so that was just I just wanted to come on here and do a check-in, do a little bit of housekeeping, make sure y'all know um that when I do these videos, um I do these videos to share my expression and to connect with those who relate. Um this what I believe, this what I feel 10 toes down. I'm standing on business in these lives, and it is what it is. So when I come back, I'm going to pair this book with my own book, The Spirit of Intimacy. And I'm gonna start reading over this, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to start sharing with y'all from this book. Yeah, I'm excited to share something from this book with y'all. Yes. But anyway, it felt good to express that, to vent some of that, to get some of that out. Now I'm going to light my candle. In this video, like I always do with my candle lit. And we light this candle in acknowledgement of our ancestors who have come, who are here, and who will come. Yes. As I blow out this candle on the physical plane, it grows with intensity and purpose on the spiritual plane, preparing us for times that are now. Y'all be sure to click that like button. Thank you for watching. Love y'all. And I will see you in a week to do another video. Love you. Later.